Bucaramanga, 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 Bucaramanga. Quiero mi cama en Bucaramanga. This year, 2022, we have been in Colombia and we've spent most of our time in Bogota, but we're actually spending some time in some other cities for a total of an entire month. And in this video,
we're going to make a city review on Bucaramanga.
You know, it kind of sounds like a drum beat. I've always thought, Bucaramanga, 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 Bucaramanga. Quiero mi cama en Bucaramanga. That is a long time stupid joke that I have said about Bucaramanga for a long time. And so
it's been like 6 years.
And I finally went to Bucaramanga so that I could actually sing my song to Bucaramanga. Silly.
We stayed in Bucaramanga the entire month of April 2022.
And we are going to go through this exact list. We'll put it on the screen here. We're going to go in this exact order of things. So if you want to skip to a specific part, just look at the chapters or look at the timestamps. And if not, watch the whole thing.
Let's begin with climate.
The climate, I think it's the second best climate city, the city with the second best climate in all of Colombia. It was really
that
close.
You've been to.
That I had been to. That it was very similar to Medellin. So like the average high was about 80. The average low was about 67. But yeah, it was great weather. I loved it. If our apartment had air conditioning, I would have probably enjoyed it a little bit more. But it did get a little bit warm in the daytime.
During the daytime.
But excellent weather. It was like perfect weather.
The climate was perfection. At night we just cracked the window open quite a bit and then we could sleep. But during the daytime while working, we did need a little bit of AC.
Okay, the overall feel of Bucaramanga is that I would say it's a little laid back. It's a big city, but it also has like the vibe of like a small town, so it just didn't feel nothing feels as crazy as Bogota.
Not at all.
But it is a big city, but people are a little bit more laid back, and I like that. The uniqueness of it, I feel like there wasn't really much unique about Bucaramanga itself as a city, but that it is a big city close to all these other small towns that we ended up visiting. And that's kind of what makes it unique. So you can have like your city life and have kind of a quiet city life and live near all these really cool small towns to visit.
And easily escape the city life.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
I thought that it was very unique that it had a million parks. Every like 2 or 3 streets there was a park. It was tiny, but there were parks everywhere.
Yeah, plenty of parks.
And that's why Bucaramanga is known as the city of the parks.
Okay, cost of living, we've just been staying in Airbnbs since we've been here. So the total cost that we spent on the Airbnb we stayed in was $607. And that was for like I think roughly 500, 600 square foot apartment on the 19th floor in the downtown Bucaramanga, which is unbelievably cheap if you compare it to
what we were paying in Dallas, Texas, or Richardson.
Or if you compared it to any major city in the United States, like for what we were living in for an entire month. would easily cost like $2,000.
But no, the location was great because we were close to grocery stores, we were close to restaurants, everything was walking distance.
Basically. Our grocery bill was about $400, and eating out was about $485 because we like to eat out. The amount we spent on just the activities and tours and stuff we did and access to parks was just under $300, and transportation was about $312, including the plane tickets to fly from Santa Marta to Bucaramanga. So with that said, it was around $2,112 for our entire experience in Bucaramanga.
And we did a lot in Bucaramanga.
Yeah, which we're going to show, of course, here in a bit. But that is, compared to US standards, that is extremely cheap, because $2,000 is like how much you would pay in rent for the place we stayed in.
Just rent.
Yeah.
No bills.
Yeah. No electricity, nothing like that.
Let's move on to safety. Overall, this area where we stayed in downtown felt pretty safe. We walked around quite a bit. Like, we like to go on walks in the morning, in the afternoon, and I felt pretty safe.
Yeah.
The west side of town, which we drove once through, was kind of scary. You saw a guy with
a kitchen knife, like a homeless guy with a
but
kitchen
it was
knife.
Pretty large.
It was a huge kitchen knife walking around. It was kind of odd because it was a really crowded day, and I'm like, there's like families and stuff passing him by. So this guy really serious, but it didn't make me feel easy.
No, that area was sketch.
It was sketch, but more towards the east side is where more of the trendy stuff is going on. The better restaurants are, and
the cabecera area. So like lots of restaurants. It was pretty easy to walk around at night, which is when I'm a little bit more hesitant to go on walks. But we still were able to walk around that area and feel comfortable in that ease. The people from Bucaramanga, they love their hamburgers. There were so many hamburger restaurants every single corner.
Yeah, they even had an event going on while we were there, and there were like lines of people waiting to like have hamburgers.
Yeah, it's called Master Burger, and it happens all over Colombia. So this was happening everywhere in Colombia.
And it smelled like a hamburger, and oddly enough, guess what? We didn't have
a single hamburger. We're not big on hamburgers.
But we did find some really good restaurants. We found this one Lebanese called Cure that was really delicious. They also had like a show of somebody doing the little like what kind of belly dancing. That was fun. But the food was really spectacular. But then we also found some other good restaurants. I would say that Bucaramanga doesn't have the variety that we typically look for that you might find in Bogota and in Medellin.
With more like healthy options and more variety of food. It wasn't as easy to find that in Bucaramanga.
Yeah.
Nightlife.
Yeah, we gotta realize
we're getting
that
old.
Yeah, we're getting old. We love our circadian rhythm, and we love getting our 9 hours of sleep. So we're in bed at about 9 or 10 o'clock every single night, and I don't think we have much to say about nightlife anywhere.
I mean, it looked fun. Like we drove, leaving the restaurants. It looked like some people were going to clubs and.
I'm yawning like in the Uber.
But there is nightlife. You should know.
Yeah, it exists.
You just don't know what it's about.
All right, activities. All the things that we did within a month. Here it is. We went to
Cerro El Santísimo.
Then we visited.
But what is Cerro El Santísimo?
Oh, it's like a huge Jesus statue that overlooks the city. I would compare it to Bogota's Monserrate. So it was just a really cool place to kind of like overview, like just have city views and also see the massive like 10-4 Jesus statue.
And then also the cable car. It's supposed to be one of like the most modern cable cars, and it was super smooth.
It was very smooth and
so
peaceful.
Smooth. Yeah.
I was pleasantly like, I just felt so tranquil just being in that cable car. Some of the other cable cars that exists around Colombia are a little bit more like when you kind of like, you feel like the vibration when you're going. It's a little scary.
It's a little scary.
Yeah. So we also went and visited a lot of the other small towns that were really close, just a 30-minute drive away, like Florida Blanca,
Giron.
We visited the botanical gardens, and that was just a pleasant time to visit another part of a connected city, which kind of just felt the same, little, laid back and enjoyable. Giron was really pretty, lots of colonial architecture in that particular city, and they had tons of restaurants that made me go, hey, like I'd love to go back there and visit some of these restaurants.
And it was just pleasant to walk around. Cars are not allowed in a big part of like the city center, the town center, so it was pleasant to walk around and enjoy the colonial architecture. We went on a small hike and we visited a waterfall with like a local hiking group that we found on Instagram, and that was actually pretty fun. We got to do like a rustic zip line.
Yeah, it's the zip lines that they use to get the products across the river, typically, but this particular spot where they live really close to the waterfall, they actually like have you pay to have the experience.
It's like 2,000 pesos.
And then the lady like pulls you in. It was a lot of fun. It was cool.
Yeah, it was cool.
First one to kiss the rock.
It's slimy. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go.
Woo! Look at this, look at this, look.
We visited Approachable, which is the upper like moorland area that's high elevation, usually around 11 or 12,000 feet elevation. And
Páramo de Santurbán.
yeah, we made a separate video on that entirely, but it was super pretty. It was near this little small town called Berlin. So Berlin, Colombia, and it was cold up there, man.
It was pretty cold.
It felt like it might have been in like the 40 degrees, and we stopped to eat at lunch at one place, and it was cool to kind of see like they had these little like dome hut things.
Oh, yeah.
And also it seemed like a really cool place to go. If you can find a hot tub in that kind of area, because it's so cool up there. It's a great spot to find a hot tub. We visited Sand Hill. We made a separate video on that too, where we basically almost died in doing.
We thought we were gonna die.
Yeah, it was the first activity we did in Sand Hill, which kind of ruined our desire to do all the other more extreme activities. Like
Because we got hurt, and I was pretty scared. I wanted to reflect on life, love on my vida, and chill.
But Sand Hill felt super safe. It was small, it was nice. It's definitely an area I want to go visit again for some vacation activities, so that we can do everything else that they pretty much offer there, from hiking to some kind of like rock climbing type of stuff.
There were also a lot more foreigners. So Johnny felt a little more comfortable because in Bucaramanga we saw one.
I think we saw one gringo the entire time for an entire month.
Close to San Gil is Barichara, so we went to Barichara. It's a 30-minute bus ride. That town is spectacular. It's so peaceful. The architecture, how clean it is. It was what we needed after the scare that we had in San Gil.
Yeah. And there were lots of views. We also did like a little hike, a little 4-mile hike from Barichara to
Guane.
They had these views of like this kind of like of the valley that were just amazing, and that is another area that I really want to visit again.
We're
tranquil.
gonna go back, yeah.
It's so tranquil, so nice, so peaceful. We also saw like one of the unique birds that lives in the area.
Yeah.
And just a beautiful colored bird. I've never seen a bird like that before. But yeah, that was awesome. And then the last thing we did is Chicamocha Canyon.
Go there and see that.
The last thing we did is Chicamocha Canyon.
El Cañón del Chicamocha.
And they have like a whole park area with a swimming pool. They have like a zip line, they have a swing. They have a cable cart. That's what we chose to do because it was like really cool to go down the cable cart into the valley and then up.
The canyon, you go really
you
down
basically
the canyon.
Go into the canyon, over the river, and it's about close to a 30 minutes cable cart ride. And it was just peaceful, and it was just fun to go there and eat lunch, check it out, walk around, take tons of pictures, and
enjoy the views.
Enjoy the view and the beauty of that area. But again, that's what I find so unique about Bucaramanga is how close it is to all these places, and they're super accessible. Just getting on a bus, they have plenty of buses and bus routes that go to these places. So it doesn't cost very much, maybe like 12 to 20,000 pesos just to get to one of those locations.
You do have to ask a lot of questions about the buses, and it might turn into a little bit of an adventure, but people are very, very helppful. Everyone is willing to answer your questions. They give you directions. They like guide you.
Yeah. There was a moment where this guy we were like, hey, we need to get the bus to get back to Bucaramanga, and the guy basically said, he was like, he called the bus and he's like, it's almost gonna be here in like 2 minutes. And he's
you
like,
need to run.
You need to run and jump that fence. And so we had to literally run through like this wet, like grassy area, and like we were just getting ourselves filthy, and then we jumped this fence, and then we got on the bus.
But we made it.
Yeah. It was good. So more adventures to come. Thank you guys for watching.
Thank you, Bucaramanga. And thank you to our friend that we haven't seen in a long time. Seeing her in her hometown was pretty, it was a good memory, and it's a gift that I keep here.